Hey. So I just recorded the Sophia Arc Masterclass. I'm super excited about it. It's gonna live as like an orientation class inside of the Dragon's Den, but for those who are like really wanting to get to know what the Sophia Arc is all about, want like a high level overview, I'm gonna send it to you completely for free when it uploads. So just send me a mirror emoji in my DMs and I will send it to you. But for now, we're just gonna chill on here for a second and do thanks for all the likes. Keisha, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope I'm saying that. Hope I'm saying your name right. So for now, we're just gonna be doing like a little reading. Wow. Okay, so the deck I'm working with right now is the Lightworker Oracle by Elena Fairchild. And we have some beautiful cards. Cosmic Heart. Wisdom of the Divine Feminine. 27 and 9. And then Initiation by Fire. And Initiation by Air. Wow. Okay, so coming off of just recording that masterclass and also like reading for the collective, I'm feeling like there's also a transit happening soon that's gonna rewire the way that we communicate with one another. And I feel like what's gonna happen is we're going to shift from being like focused primarily online to being more etherically connected as a society, as a culture. And I feel like the shift has been happening for years now, and if you're on the wave, you know it. And there's something coming to completion with this. So in the shift of the way that we communicate with one another, we're coming into completion of a cycle of the divine masculine that was roaming the earth. And there's initiations happening right now through fire, internal fire, but also external, and then air as well. And I'm really seeing like a big change happening, you guys. I don't know if you guys can feel it, but like the last like, I don't know, month or so, I feel like I've been deep in an initiation journey of just like really experiencing the depths, which is what the Sophia Arc is all about. And this is just giving me confirmation to know that like we're moving into something new. We're moving into a different, I'm gonna say a different timeline, but I don't like using that terminology because it's really like all in this present moment. I'm gonna read from the Animal Spirit deck by Kim Kranz as well. I don't typically do readings. This is something I do for private clients from time to time, but this is more so just like something that I like to do in my free time. So I wanted to share it with you. And I want to go live more often so that we can connect more. I have some cool stuff planned, but for now I just wanted to let you guys know that the Sophia Arc Masterclass is officially completed. Ooh, Phoenix. And I feel like this is part of my initiation, my journey, because for so long, you have no idea, like I wanted words to explain what I was going through and the journey that goes on in my world, but I didn't know how to explain it. And now I feel like I'm at a point, a threshold, where unity is happening within me and I'm able to finally express something that was so elusive to me for so long. So, ooh, that was a lot of cards. We're not going to read all of these. So we have Phoenix and Crow. And I will read directly from the deck because I love the way Kim Krans articulates these, and there's certain principles that, okay, so Phoenix and Crow. So Phoenix is actually an elemental, I believe that's what she calls it in this deck. Spirit. It's a spirit card. And this has to do with freedom from suffering and past karma and reincarnation, which is exactly what we were just talking about in the Sophia Arc Masterclass. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the Phoenix represents the transformation of our past. It doesn't mean running from it, denying it, or burning bridges with rage. The Phoenix employs an advanced technique described in yoga as the burning of impurities through practice and dedication, or tapas. The essence of the Phoenix is with us when we realize we have been suffering too long and something must change. Threshold energy, which is what I've been talking about in my content lately with Janice and everything like that. Also, let me know. Okay. Let me know either in the chat or comment on my videos, and let me know what kind of content you want to see, like what topics you want to see covered, because I'm all into like the mythology and uncovering it all, but I love the back and forth. So like, let me know what you want to see. We take a stand and decide to live consciously instead of being driven by the unconscious mind and its long list of fears and aversions. At that very moment, the spark of the Phoenix is lit, and the great bird helps us burn through our baggage. We no longer run from who we are, what has happened to us, or what we have done. The stuckness and the dead weight fall into the ashes, and a lightness and clarity emerge. As the stagnancy continues to smolder, the Phoenix lifts our spirits up, and we begin to recognize ourselves again. We may catch a glimmer in our eye that wasn't there before. Look closely. It's a sign the fire of transformation is upon your wings, which is beautiful because that brings together the initiation by fire and the initiation by air. So we're seeing these themes, these recurring themes show up. The Phoenix has to do with the first chakra, and ancient yogis believe that our heaviest karmas reside in the first chakra, which is interesting because, I feel like I'm coming to maybe if you're watching this as well, you're coming to a point of completion with a journey that you've been on for a long time. I intentionally set out to work with and clear my root chakra many years ago, and I feel like it's finally coming to a culminating head. And so maybe that's you too. Maybe you're resonating with that experience. Maybe that's where you are in the Sophia Arc journey. This earthen center is also called Muladhara, our root. The ascent of the Phoenix begins here, and as the entanglement of karmas is slowly burned, it rises from the ash toward the navel center. Again and again, it makes this journey from the first to the third chakra, purifying our essence, freeing us from the past. Beautiful. Being freed from the past, being freed from the confines of what was, and stepping into the newness of what potential there is. Okay, and then we have the crow. This is representative of spiritually strong, creative, watchful. The crow has long been a symbol of magic. A crow personality is drawn to the supernatural and has a gift for seeing the unseen. Ooh, if that's you, I see you. That's me too. Knowing the unknown. It is said that the crow holds within its mind's eye the three realities: past, present, and future. Crow energy is potent and should only be tapped into when the mind is clear. Those with crow tendencies must balance their lives with a healthy diet, joyful friends, and regular self-study. It's giving Virgo energy. I'm a Virgo stellium. When in balance, this energy is psychic, strong, and clear. When out of balance, it's ungrounded and hypersensitive. Ooh, this is the Sophia Arc too. And to bring into balance is a daily meditation practice. which actually is something that I've been challenging myself to do recently, because I am currently living with my mother and Gemini sun. Gemini. I love Gemini energy. I feel like Virgos and Geminis sometimes have sort of conflict though, but like I love Gemini energy. Anyway, so I've been living with my mom, and she's definitely very narcissistic, and yeah, anyway, I've been seeing it from a more zoomed out perspective, and I've allowed myself to like understand the foundations that I built throughout my life, and yeah, I'm recognizing that I am my own worst enemy when it comes to being around people like that, because I get myself in the rut, I take on all of their energy, and then I like, instead of allowing them to sit with what their energy is, I take it on for them, and I try and sift through it. I try and sort through it for them. And I've been realizing like, oh girl, we cannot be doing that, Miss Girl, because that is exactly what Sophia does in the Sophia Arc. She tries to take action on account of the whole, when in reality she's meant to be that stable force in individuation. And anyway, so this is a long way of saying that I've been challenging myself to have more of a daily meditation practice. So I've set up my altar, I've been doing readings more often, mostly just for myself, sometimes for clients, but I found it to be really grounding because it allows me that sense of connection to myself. I notice also with my mother and just in general with my relationship patterns, I've noticed that I have a tendency to disregard my own intuition because I want to please the world around me. So I fear being too big, or I fear saying the wrong thing because historically, like, my mother would react negatively to that, or my brightness would like make her want to collapse or whatever. And this is exactly what the Sophia Arc talks about. If you want to get the masterclass, send me a mirror emoji and I'll send it to you completely free once it uploads. We'll be doing an Akamith mother wound and then a demiurge father wound masterclass as well, because the two correlations are actually insane, and like seeing the mythology behind it really allows you to zoom out and understand your personal scenario from a more broadened perspective. It allows you to sit with the energy a little bit more so that you can actually create change, and that separation is what allows you to create the change. Okay, I'm gonna screenshot your name and I will send it to you. If I can't send it to you because your DM settings or whatever, send me the mirror in a DM so that I can message you, and I will send you the information. Yeah, guys, I'm so excited. I feel like a new chapter is just right here on the horizon, and we're moving towards it. It's happening, whether we're prepared for it or not, right? It's happening. You're welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm gonna be doing more lives for sure. Kind of just been like in my feelings. So haven't been as expressive. Oh, and also I have been really active on Bendable too. So all of my decks and stuff are linked over there that I'm using, or that I use. And I have like a bunch of lists that I've created over there, which are really helpful, and honestly just they're fun to create. So if you're not following me over there, follow me over there too. And on YouTube as well, because I'm going to be a bit more active, I think, especially when things transition on the 22nd. I'm not sure what that's gonna look like. If you know, you know. So yeah. Okay. So what is the journey that this collective is currently on and experiencing? lots of emotions coming out here. Like, unsure. Like, you have a lot of emotions. You're very mature with your emotions. And I almost feel like it's time for you to not be. That's a little radical. But I almost feel like it's time for the world to spin. It's time for you to recognize that you're not in the beginning stages of this anymore. You actually have created a pretty solid foundation for yourself. And I almost see that you're like hesitant to reflect on this a little bit because you're unsure of what it means to move forward in this cycle. You don't know what the next step is. You don't know what the next move is going to be. You don't know where you're going next. You don't know. It's very unstable. But the thing that's coming through here is like, that's the point. You're not meant to know. When we're on the Sophia Arc journey, we go through the majority of the time, we're in the unknown. We're in the not knowing. We're in a space of feeling the void, the abyss of everything. And until we actually allow ourselves to sit with and face all of that, our big emotions, everything that's come through for us, we can't let go of what isn't serving us, the emotions that aren't fueling us anymore, and move into new states of being and actually relinquish the struggle. But when we do that, when we actually allow ourselves to sit in the feelings, which is what January really is all about. It's about, I have some videos coming soon, but it's about connecting with yourself in an internal experience. That's what January really is all about. And to try and, that's why I don't like the westernized perspective of it as like, oh, it's time to set goals, it's time to do this, it's time to do that, because that naturally happens when you allow yourself to sit with the emotions, when you allow yourself to sit in the mess, when you allow yourself to sit with everything that's going on, all of the past things that have arisen for you, all of the things that are coming up for you in the present moment. When you let all of that to whirlpool around you. Thanks, Boo. Hi, how are you? When you let all of that actually physically land in your emotional space, that's when the action comes through that's like, okay, we know what to do. Okay, like, let's go. Like, okay. But until you actually allow yourself to do that, you're just bypassing the cycle and you're actually creating more work for yourself in the long run. That's why I don't really resonate with January being like the new year. I mean, for me personally, I see it as more like February and then the full wake up is in the spring. But January to me is a time of deep inner reflection. Yeah. It's a time of like really allowing yourself to sit and go within. And I have a picture. I need like another phone or something so I can like show you things. I have a picture of this book by Jamie Sams, and the book is called the original 13 clan mothers, something of that nature. And in like the beginning of the book, there's an image of all of the 13 moons. And then January's moon is in the middle. Haven't read Fourth Wing. January's moon is in the middle. And that moon is basically like, the invitation there is to sit with the woman of the wind, of the nothingness, of the abyss. And when you sit with that version, that aspect, whether you see it as some external force or you see it as an aspect of yourself, when you sit with that energy of really like introspective and sitting with yourself and sitting with your emotions and sitting with the things that have come up for you over the last year, over the last sun cycle, which resets in the spring, that's when you can gain the wisdom and the knowledge to then take forward moving action, to then be inspired into action. And yeah, that's something that I've been embodying for the last few years now, but something that I've really been invited into this year, especially going through more of like dark night of the soul's energy, because there has been a loss of direction in my life. I've been feeling like, okay, what do I even do? Like, where do I even, and if you're if you're watching this, you probably relate to this. Like this energy of like, okay, the world is like, what right now? And I don't even know how to respond or to react to this. What if instead of trying to respond or trying to react, I sit with it? I sit with what I'm feeling. I sit with what I've actually overcome, what I've actually moved through already. What if I recognize that this isn't the beginning part of the process, that this is actually a culmination, that this is actually an ending, that this is actually a resolution coming forth, coming through. And in doing that, I've gotten so many insights on actions to take. The Sophia Arc was birthed out of that, right? Like my understanding of what it is I teach in the cosmology that I am being initiated and thus initiating others into has been birthed through this period of recollection, of understanding. And that's what the Sophia Arc is all about. And that's what you're being invited into as well. Into this period of really accessing the divine wisdom within you, which comes through actually sitting with your emotions, actually being present. And on the other side of that is the Queen of Pentacles, is your, when you embody that, that is when you embody Queen of Pentacles energy. Because in the sitting with the emotions, in the understanding the non-physical, you become more aware of the things that you can do in the physical. You become more aware of your power in the physical and that you can do anything, right? Let me know if this is resonating for you in the comments. Ooh. And if you haven't yet, send me a DM with a mirror if you'd like to get access to the Sophia Arc Masterclass. Because we will be sending that out for free. It will also live in the Dragon's Den as an orientation piece. Any recommendations? I feel Flight Line 35, I feel that is a bit out of my scope. I'm just going to be honest with you. There are some things that you can unpack there about your relationship to authority. I feel like that might be at the forefront of what you might be experiencing. I also think there is such stigma around death. I don't know what I can and cannot say on here, but there's such stigma around death. And I think in coming from someone who used to be, and my partner also very much so would struggle with those things. Thank you. I feel like the only way out of that specific scenario, at least in my personal experience, again, I'm not like licensed or anything like that, not yet anyway, I feel the only way out is through. The only way out is through that darkness, is through, so suicidal ideation oftentimes has to do with the desire to want to not exist as you currently are. And so what happens when you surrender to that death? Instead of it being a surrender to actual physical death, maybe it's a surrender to an ego death. Maybe it's a surrender to an ideology or a worldview that you thought that is grounding you into this reality. Yeah, feel through it all. You definitely, there's definitely nuances to that conversation. I feel like someone who knows you and your specific scenario would be able to better address that, but truly the only way that I know how to go about things is to run head first into them until either I crash or they crash and something happens from that mess. I don't know if that's the pathway. I'm sure that's not the pathway for everyone, but that's what works for me. And really just like getting to know death as a being. You could see it as a being or an experience, you know. But in the Sophia arc, we talk about that period of, let me see if I can, that period of getting to know, yeah. Okay. So you see this right here? That's the hero's journey, right? So in the hero's journey, let me zoom in a little. So in the hero's journey, you're basically on the precipice of the known to the unknown. And through this experience, you go into the abyss, which is the death and rebirth phase. And in that death and rebirth phase, that's where you experience the revelation. So maybe the pathway isn't to try to get out of that phase that you're in, because it really is just a phase, right? Maybe it's not to try and get out of that, but to embrace it a little bit more. Ask what it's teaching you, what you might be gaining through this experience. Shifting from, you know, why is this happening, to what is this showing me? That's really what the Sophia arc is all about. It's about shifting from being a victim to being the empowered experiencer of even the darkest and deepest places, like death. And then when you meet that being or that energy fully and wholeheartedly, you come out on the other side more fully renewed. And that's really the whole point of life, anyway. So, thanks for your question. That was good. Hopefully I answered it to the fullest capacity that I know I answered it to the fullest capacity that I could. All right, so we'll stay on here for a few more minutes. This is the Alchemy deck by Kim Krans. I felt like it was relevant. Hello, thank you. Yeah, of course, my pleasure. Okay. So we have the Magnus Opus, the Great Work. It's like a little tilted. And then the Androgyne Rebus. And I will read directly from the deck because I really love Kim Krans' interpretations. Sometimes when I'm reading, I don't, but sometimes, you know, it's nice to have a source. It's nice to have something to fall back onto. It's nice to have structure. We love structure. Okay, these are actually right next to each other in the deck. Again. So, Magnum Opus. This is attention, devotion, vocation. The magnum opus shimmers in the distance, promising purpose, achievement, and understanding. When will we get there? When will our efforts be recognized? Amidst pressure and expectations, we come to realize each alchemist's life is an accumulation of moments in which attention is placed upon a subject within the laboratory. The artist draws a single line. The poet describes a single word. The rose forms a single leaf. The Magnus Opus card reminds us that the alchemical garden grows from seeds tended to by devoted hands and the grace of sun, water, and earth. You cannot force the great work. You cannot claim it or complete it. This card arrives to whisper words of encouragement. You are in the right place. The most important place for you. This is the alchemical garden. Tend to the youngest growth. Be delicate and precise. Wow, beautiful. And remember to celebrate where you are. The alchemist knows that the great work occurs without realizing it, as it's a collaboration with the divine. Wow. And then rebus. This is creative transcendence, multiplicity, the artist. The androgen is a deeply revered image in alchemy. Born of Hermes and Aphrodite, Hermaphroditos has been classically depicted as a balanced union of divine masculine. This is like a syzygy, if you watch my content. I talk about that. That's like a Gnostic term. Today's alchemist knows the androgen is far more nuanced than that. It encompasses the infinite spectrum and reveals itself in ever-changing, non-binary forms. The divine hermaphrodite defies definition, as it is a deeply personal, felt experience. Accessing this fluid and enlightened state requires us to slip into the contradictory realm of the senses. Breath by breath, we are drawn into our limbs, our fluids, our orifices, organs, and cells. We let go of rules and labels. Judgment is suspended. The gods are present, as are the creative mysteries of the underworld. For a brief moment, we hold all of our complexities in one loving form. Like a newborn, we know not our name, gender, age, or location. We are the embodied artists, embraced unconditionally by sun and moon. This, to me, feels like an invitation to let go of linear time. To let go of trying to, this is exactly what we were talking about in the Sophia Arc Masterclass, to let go of trying to choose one over the other. It gets to be both and. You get to feel the experience of death and the experience of life. You get to experience the feeling of sorrow and grief and the experience of joy and excitement, being on the precipice of something new. You do not have to choose. Choosing is what keeps you locked in a binary pathway. Choosing is what keeps you locked in binary thinking, which keeps you locked in duality, which makes you feel like you have to choose one over the other, which then splits your consciousness. And in order to resolve that, in order to come into a sense of unity, into a sense of wholeness, what we can do is we can allow ourselves to see it rather as this point versus this point, and we can see it as an entire spectrum. We talk about this inside of Managing the Mind, which is included in Dragon's Den. When you see it as an entire spectrum, rather than, okay, I have to choose to be here or I have to choose to be here, when you can zoom out and you can be like, okay, that's a point on the spectrum and that's a point on the spectrum. I don't have to choose either of those, but both of those can exist. When you see the world in that way, and that expands further to like seeing someone on the street acting in a way that you wouldn't want to act, you can see them. You can be like, okay, that's amazing, that's beautiful, that can exist, and the opposite of that can exist. And within all of that, I can exist as a completely different experience from all of that. This is the great work. Recognizing that you are not one or the other. You are not just human. You are not just divine, but you are both. You are not just working in the physical. You are not just working in the spiritual. You are doing both. Right? Both and consciousness. The way that I like to reframe this is something that a lot of people say is, you'll be talking with them and they'll be like, but this. I had to clock my partner when he started doing this. I was like, I need you to settle down, okay? It's and this. What I'm saying can coexist with what you're saying. It can be an and experience. It doesn't have to be either or. So instead of saying but, we say yes and. Yes, I see your perspective. Yes, I see that as a potential reality. And this can be so helpful when you're down deep in the darkness. Because when you're down deep in the darkness, you can say, yes, I'm down deep in the darkness. Yes, I feel like shit. Yes, I have no energy. Yes, all of that. And there is so much potential for my growth right now. There's so much potential for my life. There's so much potential for... I'm happily married, thank you very much. There's so much potential for creative expression in that darkness. In that darkness is where the seed is birthed, right? So I just want you to remember that even if you are in the darkness, even if you are deep down in the depths, even if you are experiencing those low points of the Sophia Arc, that doesn't mean you can't also experience the sense of recognition and awe that can come from being in those darker places. And with that, I believe we are complete here. If you want to experience the full journey of the Sophia Arc completely free, I'm offering it for a limited time as an option, a free option that you can get access to our Sophia Arc Masterclass. And this will live in the Dragon's Den full time as an orientation to the Dragon's Den. But if you're like, okay, I really want to join, but like, I'm not sure, like, will this really work for me? All those kinds of doubts and things that come up. I invite you to check out this masterclass. Send me a mirror emoji and I will send you over the link once it's uploaded. And remember, as a final message, moving out of here today, remember that your transformation happens in stillness and solitude. And keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay? Not that you're stupid, but we all need that reminder. Keep it simple. Because through simplicity, through stillness, through solitude, transformation happens and wisdom is birthed through you. And that is how you embody the Sophia frequency in real time. Okay. I love you so much. If you missed any part of this reading and want to catch a replay, I will upload it to YouTube, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Make sure you follow along for more and send me a mirror in my DMs if you would like the Sophia Arc.